Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Deb's Artsy Life. It's been a long time since I made a video, and I would apologize for that, but I'm not going to because I have been very busy living my artsy life. And so in this episode, I've got a lot that I want to share with you. I hope that you'll stay tuned because I'm going to talk about um, a new kind of direction for my art, a new focus in my art, and some things I've been working on. I'm going to talk about an artisan conference that I attended, and I'm going to talk about my projects. I've got a couple of finished objects and some new books to share with you, some new knitting books, and some yarn that I ordered today, and I want to tell you a little bit about that. So I'm just sitting here knitting on this miter square with some hand-dyed, at least hand-spun. I'm not sure, but it's nice yarn that I purchased from the Blue Ridge Fiber Festival. And I've started doing these miter squares. So I'll tell you real quick. I'll show you what I've been doing. I can't really knit and talk to you guys at the same time. It's hard for me because I get sidetracked. But this is one of the mitered squares, and obviously I need to sew my ends in. And this is just a granny square that I thought I might put with it and combine knitting and crocheting in the same project. I would really like to do that. I don't know yet what I'm going to do with this, but that's what I'm kind of messing with tonight, and I just want to use up this yarn, and I think these colors are so gorgeous together. Okay, so let's get into this. The first thing I want to talk about, well, my video got blurry. Hold on just one second. Okay, I think I fixed my focus now. I have two finished projects to show you. The first one I finished is this bag that I was working on. I think in my last video, every square is different. And then you've got the bottom square, which is also different. And I'm not going to do a tutorial on these, only because it's very, very easy. I'm just going to try to tell you real quickly how I do this. It's just a granny square, and some of them are 9 rounds, some of them are 10 rounds. Just depends on how big you want your bag to be. But you just make your 5 granny squares and put them together like a box. You know, you put one on the bottom and then just put the other 4 around the sides. And you can seam them together with single crochet or any way that really you want to. You can whip stitch them. There's tons of ways to join squares, and there's plenty of videos on how to do that. And then I just do some rounds to make it taller and put my handles on. And I really love designing these bags. Each one I've made is very different. I don't like following patterns. I think I've told you guys that in the past. I wish I did because it would open up more, I don't know, maybe it'd make things easier, but to me it takes all the creativity out sometimes. I mean, it is a pattern, but it's not a pattern. I like to take certain elements of a pattern, like this granny square is a pattern, and then just make it up myself. So this is the second bag I finished. And these are made out of 100% acrylic, and they're washable and dryable. This is Vivid, Premier Vivid, and then this Yarn Bee Sugar Wheel actually matched it perfectly. So I combined it, and all the squares again are different, even the bottom. And then I've just put them together, and I just love this. I think it'll look good in the fall into Art Festival in October. It's kind of Halloween candy corn, has that look to it. Sunflowers. So anyway, I'm really proud of those. And actually, okay, I think in a prior video I might have mentioned an artisan conference that I wanted to go to. I don't remember if I mentioned it or not, but it it was in Abingdon, Virginia, and it was at the most beautiful place. And I had always wanted, well, I hadn't always wanted to go there, but for, I had wanted to go there. I'd never been. It's the Southwest Virginia Artisan Cultural Center and Marketplace. And so it's on the campus of a community college. Excuse me. And so I could not bring myself to register for it, and I just kept thinking about it and wanting to go, and I kept talking myself out of it and saying, no, I need to stay home. I need to, be at work. I need this and that. And I'm really bad to plan something big like that and then maybe dread it and not want to do it for whatever reason. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. But anyway, so I had not signed up for this conference. And all of a sudden on Thursday, the conference started on Thursday with a pre-conference workshop, and then the first part of it, like the welcome thing, was that evening. Well, I didn't know about that welcoming thing until I got up there. I just decided at lunchtime, I was working and everything, and all of a sudden I just decided I've got to go to that conference. I just have a craving, or I had a craving to be by myself, to drive, because I have a hard time driving on the interstate. I have a lot of anxiety, and I don't like driving on the interstate. And so I had kind of been afraid, I guess, to drive, and I just haven't wanted to. And so I just wanted to prove to myself that I could do it. And I always look at it like I'm taking an adventure with just me and God, and I always feel his presence when I go somewhere, anywhere by myself. I just love to get out by myself. I've gone to, several places, like overnight trips by myself, but I've not done it in many years. And so I really needed to just get away and be by myself and kind of reconnect with myself. And so I made all the arrangements in like an hour and a half, took care of everything at work. There was a room available that I was able to get at the hotel, and I registered for the conference, went home, packed everything, jumped in the car, and I had the best time. So I'll tell you real quick, I got up there, and I made it pretty good. There was like several accidents on the interstate, and so I had to go really slow, which was fine with me because I don't like to go fast on the interstate. So I just kind of creeped along there toward the end, and I got there fine. I took the back roads most of the way, and it was a beautiful day, and it was a beautiful drive. And so I got up there, and I checked in the hotel, and I went to look at my phone to see, where I could eat dinner that night, and just kind of get a feel for what was nearby. And a local yarn shop that I'd never gotten to go to but always wanted to, not local to me, but local to the conference and the hotel and everything. It's A Likely Yarn in Abingdon, Virginia. And their email popped up first thing unread on my email when I opened it. And I was going to Google, but anyway, you get the gist. The email pops up. A likely yarn is open till 7 p.m. and they're having sit and stitch. And so I was so thrilled because I thought I had gotten up there too late to visit that shop. I thought they closed at 5. And so I got in my car and I was starving, but I thought I'll eat afterwards. And so it was only like 2 or 3 miles to the yarn shop. Such an easy drive. I didn't have to get back on the interstate. And I got to the yarn shop. It was a beautiful little place. It's kind of like I think it's a house that's been converted into a shop. And I go in, and there's these 6 wonderful ladies. I think there was 5 or 6. They were knitting, and they were all sitting around in this room knitting and talking. And I just joined right in, and they just welcomed me, and they were so kind. And I told them, that I was there for the conference, and it surprised me because not many people in Abington, in fact, nobody, knew about this Artisan Conference. And I thought that was very odd, but anyway, I shared that with them, and I was working on this. I had it with me, and I only had I had 4 squares completed, and I was working on the 5th. So I hadn't put it together or anything. So they were all knitting, but I wanted to work on this. I also took this project, which is the baby blanket for my grandson that I'm expecting in June. And I've done, quite a bit of it, but I don't work on it all the time. I kind of got into making these bags, and so it's kind of been put to the side. But anyway, so I had all those projects with me, and I sat and crocheted with them and talked with them for about 45 minutes, and then I was just starving. And so they suggested a restaurant nearby, and when I say nearby, it was literally diagonally across the street. So it was called 128 Pecan Street, I think is the name of it. But anyway, the address was the name of the restaurant. And it was just exactly what I needed. Oh my gosh. It was, well, I waited too late to eat. I was really ravenous by the time I finally got food. But I sat in the back corner and I could see everything in, from the back corner out. There was another room, and of course I couldn't see in there, but it again was like a house that had been converted, and so I could see the door. And I'll see if I can pull up a picture because I tried to make these part of this video, and I just could not get it to work. I couldn't get them to even upload to anything, but I don't know if you can see this. I don't think you can see it, but like right here is the doorway, like as you go out, and there are little fairy lights. They're like Christmas lights, very colorful. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, I ordered salmon. It was brick grilled or brick something, and rice and spinach. And oh my gosh, y'all, that salmon was absolutely fabulous. Now, granted, I was starving, but I ate every single solitary bite. And the waitress was so kind. She was so attentive and wonderful to me. So if you're ever in Abington, Virginia, go to 128 Pecan Street and eat. And so I did a little video of the yarn shop, but I'm not even going to try to show you on my phone because it's just not going to focus. Anyway, it was really great. And I just had the best time on Friday night, and it was just so perfect. And then I went back to the hotel, and everything was comfortable. I had taken a bunch of painting stuff. And of course, the whole purpose of the conference was to focus on my art and to be alone. So I'm trying to make this as short of a story as I can, but there's so much I want to tell you guys. I don't know if you watched the video before last. It was where I don't know which one it was, but it was like 2 videos back. And it was talking about, or I was talking about, how overwhelmed I was, I guess, and how, um, I don't know, you'll have to watch it. I should have watched it before I came on here because I can't even remember what I said. But I was very overwhelmed and I was wanting um, more focus, I think. And I think I talked about the conference in that. Anyway, after that, um, I started participating in Wendy Bright Bill's 100 Days of Imperfect Practice. And it's also like the 100-day project, which I'm sure some of you, if not all of you, have heard of. But you just do, and I'm not doing it for 100 days. I'm doing it, I want to make 100 pieces of artwork. And if it takes me 200 days, that's okay. So a long time ago, not a long time ago, but well, yeah, it was a long time ago. Probably back in 2007, maybe I started doing these little 5x7 things that my friend called tablescapes. Here's one, but it's these little like here's one from about that time period. It's just these little still lifes, and usually there's a teapot, and I was using markers and watercolors back then, and I was doing them on my lunch hour. And I have not done those in years. And here's one from that. It was about 2007, and I did them for years and sold so many, but I sold them for practically nothing. I'll tell you, I sold them for $15. And when I was at that Artisan Conference, I told someone that, or I told, a group that, one of the group sessions, and they were just, I don't know, they were blown away by the fact that I sold them for that little. And I don't want to do that again because those are the originals. And I know that people in my area, they don't really understand an original piece of art and what the value of that is. I don't know. They just don't, if it's a copy, they're fine with that. But I was selling the originals, so now I don't have any of those anymore. And that's okay because, they weren't perfect. I mean, you see, they were fun, but I could do them really quickly. But what they were saying at the Artisan Conference is just because I can do them quickly, it's taken me years. It's taken me my whole life to get to that point. And so there's one of them that I really like. Sometimes they have words, sometimes they don't. But what I'm going to do, I think, well, anyway, I'm going to try to do 100 of these. This is a couple that I've done. And if you go to my Instagram, you can see I've done 11 so far, so I've got a ways to go. But I've got about probably 5 to 10 more in the works at some stage. But I wanted to share this one as an example. Good grief. Okay, there we go. My sister made the comment. I posted it on Instagram and Facebook, and my sister made the comment that this looked like sitting at my grandma's table with my mama. It made her want to sit at the kitchen table at grandma's with mama. And I looked at it and I thought that is exactly what that looks and feels like. Not this one, but this one. My grandma had this great big table in the middle of the kitchen, and it took up pretty much the whole kitchen. She had a freezer, a big chest freezer on one side, and the sink was on one side, and then the stove and the refrigerator was on the other side. So everything in the kitchen surrounded that kitchen table, and she always had newspapers on it. She always had a devotion book or her Bible, and we would all gather, and there was always a tablecloth on it. And she always, almost always, had a plant on there or a flower or something. Grandma was an amazing um, plant grower, green thumb person. She had a whole room full of beautiful plants. But of course, that's what now that I look at that, just the power of art to evoke memories and to, speak to us. And it speaks to every person in a different way. I mean, when I did this, I didn't have that in my mind at all, but my sister saw that in it. And now, I wonder, because one of my favorite things to do is to sit at a table with a cup of coffee or tea, and flowers. This is a newer one. But I love doing these paintings because I like this one. I guess, maybe that's somewhere inside me, being at grandma's table, being at mom and daddy's table. They always had, um, we always sit around the kitchen table and drank coffee, talked. They always offered us food. Um, and it kind of makes me sad too, because I'm not sure I'm carrying that tradition on with my family, because um, I've been on a gluten and dairy free diet for many years, and I don't really, cook a lot anymore, and I don't offer food to people when they come. But that's that is inspired by sitting around my aunt's table, and this is my aunt's watering can. I did this years ago. Mom and I were down there visiting, and it's Mama's sister, and we were sitting at her table. So, there is something to be said for sitting at a table with a cup of coffee. So that's the direction for my artwork now, and I am feeling so happy about that. And my plan is to um, work on doing 100 of these. And whatever I have finished by the time the Fall Into Art Festival comes, what I'd like to do is take the best ones and make copies of them and sell the copies. I do not want to sell the originals. Now, at the Artisan Conference, they, were talking about limited edition prints, and I don't know that I want to get into all that. I have an HP 9020 or 9020 printer that has pigmented ink, and according to the website, their ink is their prints, their copies from that printer. If you use the correct paper and the cartridges from HP, Hewlett Packard, then they're supposed to last for decades, the copies are. And as I said, people in my area, they're not, I mean, I might have some of the originals available, but I package them in a little like plastic sleeve like this with a backing board, and I sell the copies like that. And I've been selling them like that in shops downtown. So I want to do that and sell these, but I have gotten a new printer and kind of perfected my prints more. Not perfected, but improved. And so that's my plan. And this is just feeding my soul to do these. And I've just got several going all the time. And I work on them at lunch. I work on them when I come home in the evenings. And I just do a little bit at a time. And it's just it's feeding my artistic soul. And I'm still knitting and crocheting, but I feel like my art has got to have a place again. And so I'm really thankful for Wendy Bright Bill and the 100 Days of Imperfect Practice. It's a free class that she offered. You can Google it, and anybody can join, but it really helped me. So I've even got a list today of all the things I want to talk about. So I'm doing that, and I've shown you my new bags, my finished objects, and I've shown you the projects that I'm working on. I did order, I've been trying really hard not to order more yarn. I did order more of this so that I could um, finish out this blanket um, because I saw that 2 skeins was not going to be enough. So I ordered 2 more skeins. And then I ordered, you always got to get free shipping. So I ordered more yarn than I needed. I ordered several of, I'll show that to you later. Never mind. So anyway, I do need to finish his blanket because I've got a feeling that baby's going to come before the end of June. Now, I wanted to tell you on my trip, I did buy this gorgeous plant. I love the color chartreuse. It's my favorite color. That and cobalt blue. And in one of the shops, I found this gorgeous plant. And I'll try to pop a picture in if I can do that. But anyway, I bought that, and then I went by this tea shop, and they were serving lavender tea. And I had walked all downtown, and it was very warm, so I was needing some lavender tea. But I forgot that I had cash in my pocketbook. Totally slipped my mind. I didn't have much, but I had enough to buy that lavender tea. And the shop owner said, we can't accept credit cards for a purchase less than $5. And I had seen this sitting there on the shelf, and I thought, oh, that is so beautiful, because from looking at those watercolors that I love drawing teapots. And so I had to have this, and it was like $20. I said, well, here, how about this? So later I got home and saw that, oh, I had cash after all. But this is a little souvenir from my trip, and it's not showing up as bright as it is. But it is a very bright, beautiful kind of spring green, I guess. But I just loved it. It needs washing. I just brought it straight home and put it in the cabinet. It's still got the Scotch tape on the lid. Can you see it? Anyway, I loved that trip. I had such a wonderful time. The conference was incredible. The speakers were incredible. I got so much encouragement. A lot of encouragement for this channel too, because one of the workshops was on social media, and they made me feel so good because I had the number of subscribers that I have. Thank you all. And that I was only posting like once a month. So my last video, for some reason, got a lot more views than my videos have been getting. So I hope you'll stick around and watch this one, and I hope you'll like and subscribe and share. And anyway, I'm having fun with this channel. And they were very encouraging about it. Okay, more about the conference. Most of it was on selling your work. There was one thing that really stuck out to me. One of the speakers said, and of course I had my journal and I took copious notes on, all the speakers. One gentleman said that we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. And that includes social media, digital influences. And that really struck me. We are the average of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. And I thought, my goodness, I need to be more careful who and what I watch on YouTube, and I would encourage you to do that too. I watch YouTube more than anything, but there are people from YouTube that I spend a lot of time with, and I've kind of tweaked my channels that I watch, because if I'm going to be the average of 5 people, I want them to be really spectacular people. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I just found that very not life-changing, but it was a wake-up call. Okay, so the next night I ate, and it wasn't nearly as good. I think I was getting kind of homesick, and I was very disappointed in the meal. Now, the conference, oh my gosh, they fed us like we were royalty. It was such a spread. We had a wonderful lunch on Friday, and then breakfast each day. We had, it was like all day Friday and half a day Saturday. And the facility itself was absolutely beautiful. So I really enjoyed that. And I don't know if I'll go back, but it was really nice to meet people and to just spend the whole weekend, focused on art. I painted on Saturday night. Not Saturday night. I went home Saturday. I painted Friday night. Was it? Yeah. I painted Friday night when I got back to the hotel after I'd been to that wonderful restaurant, Nate's Salmon. And then on Saturday, I found this wonderful little, I just Googled art supplies near me. And this wonderful little shop called Spot a Color came up on my Google, and it was just right downtown, just right on my way to downtown Abingdon and the shops and everything. And so on Saturday, well, no, I went there. I left early. I left the conference early on Friday, I think, and went to that shop on. I'm getting myself all confused. I don't know when I went, but anyway, I visited that shop, and it was just a very small little shop, but it had the most wonderful selection of art supplies, all the really good art supplies. It wasn't student grade. It wasn't, off brands. It was good quality stuff. And I bought 9x12 watercolor block. I didn't need anything. I was just going, mainly to look and just to focus on art and to meet people. And so anyway, it was a lot of fun. And then Saturday, after I left the conference, I had already checked out of the hotel that morning. And so I left the conference, parked my car in like the public parking, and just walked all downtown. I visited this wonderful little bookstore I Googled, bookstore near me. And it was a place called The Bookseller, but it was Cellar. And it was inside this coffee shop. And I was too hot to buy coffee because it was really hot, and I had walked a long way. So, but what I found was, and I hope I didn't bring it in here. Well, anyway, I found this little book, this little spiral book, with some crochet patterns in it. Hold on, I've got to get it. It's too cute. Okay. This is the book I found. There was 3 different ones, but they were rather pricey for a used book. But Crochet Patterns and Projects. And what I like about it is it's got the different granny squares, the traditional, and then variations. And it's just got the patterns. And here's the African flower, which I've never made. And here is the hexagon, which, believe it or not, I've never made, which to me is crazy, but I haven't. And then it's got like the circle and a square, which I kind of have to look at the pattern when I do it because I forget. I've made those, and it's got like a chevron baby blanket. It's just got all these different patterns, and I love this. Look at that. These coasters. And I also thought I could use this as a reference photo for my paintings, my little still lifes. So I was just really thrilled with this little book. It was $7, which, as I said, seemed pricey for a used book. But anyway, it was a really neat shop, and I wanted something from it. So anyway, I got that, and then I just had a wonderful trip back home on Saturday. I took the interstate the whole way, and I was so proud of myself. I only got really nervous one time, and that was when I was trying to pass this big tractor trailer, and there was like two of them, and one of them was a double tractor trailer, and he had his flashers on, and so I was trying to go around, and as I got out in the left lane to go around, the tractor trailer in front of me suddenly decides he's going to get over too. Well, that is like my huge fear on the interstate, is that one of those tractor trailers is going to come over on me. And so I slammed on my brakes, and I know that is a big, big, big no-no on the interstate, but I freaked out a little. And so then, I recovered and everything was fine, thank God. But that was the only time that I really even got the least bit anxious. So I was so grateful. And I listened to I love Southern gospel music, so I listened to that all the way up there and back. And I just had a really good time. And I needed that so, so much. It's funny when you go away and you come home, your house looks completely different. Everything looks new. Do you guys feel that? I just needed that. Okay, so the last thing I want to share with you, and here my thing got blurry again. I don't know why it's doing this. Hold on just one second. Okay, there we go. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, then this past Saturday, my daughter and I went down to a nearby town. Well, it's not very near. It's an hour and a half away. But we went to McKay's bookstore, and she wanted to look for like fiction books. And I've gotten to where I just rarely read. I can't concentrate. I think my ADHD is, well, I don't even know if I have ADHD, but I definitely have symptoms, and they're getting worse. But anyway, I found these books on knitting, and this one, how to do it says, revealed inside, the secret of knitting two at once on one circular needle. So knitting two socks at once on one circular needle. I really want to knit socks. And these are patterns for different socks. And, oh, I so hope I can do these. And it has the pattern written, and then it has like different tips, I guess, and instructions, and then it has a chart. I know how to read crochet charts, but I don't know how to read knitting charts, but I'm learning. And anyway, I just thought this book was fabulous. And it's so fun because I love getting used books, because inside is like extra stuff that people have stuck in there. So it's an extra pattern. But this was only $5. And then I found this, One Skein Wonders 101 Yarn Shop favorites. There's a tea cozy, there's gloves and socks and all sorts of stuff. And I don't know, if I'll use these or make any of this, but I love this tea cozy. Look at that. And little baby sweater. But I just thought it was good to have. And modular knits. I'm really excited about this one. It was $1.50. But I love like granny squares, and I love the idea of modular knitting, like making smaller shapes and putting them together. And I'd never really heard of this or knew about it. So I just found this fascinating. Like here you have garter stitch squares, and you put the squares together somehow, or the shapes. I don't know, I really like this. This drew me in. And I'll tell you why I was drawn to this. It's because I love making these squares. And I'm going to show you one more book, and then I got to tell you something about this. So here's Freeform Knitting and Crochet. Now I've tried freeform knitting in the past, and I like order, and I like, I'm an artist and I'm creative, but in my knitting and crochet, I don't want to just go willy-nilly. I want to have some structure, I guess. That is beautiful. But I love the thought of combining knitting and crochet. One, because not everybody can do that, and it just opens up so many more possibilities for something like freeform, So I bought this, and it was only $5. If I use it, that's great, and if I don't, my daughter's calling. Excuse me. Sorry. So anyway, I bought those books, but what I wanted to tell you is two things. I've just got two more things, I promise. But I was working on this and had sort of a breakthrough, or maybe I was just thinking about it, but it feels like I'm starting to understand knitting a little better, because I was working on this, and it's that Grandma's dishcloth. It's a variation of grandmother's dishcloth, but you start decreasing and make it a square. And I got to thinking, and I've got a pattern for this because I didn't know how to do it. So it's Grandma's dishcloth. But I started thinking about decreasing and increasing, and when you first start knitting or crocheting, you don't really understand I don't know, but I had a light bulb moment, okay? So I was thinking about this shawl that I started, and it's the Knit Your First Shawl by Noble Knits. And I've shown you this in the past. I think I finished one completely, and I donated it. But this is just the first of it. And what happens is as you increase, one side becomes the top of the shawl. But I started thinking, in order to increase this, you knit front and back on each row, I think. And I thought, okay, well, I could make this a square, perhaps, if I started at some point, and I'm not sure if I've got this right, but if I started decreasing at some point and knitting two together, would this not become a square? And I don't really know, but I think it would. Because if I, maybe not this particular pattern, but I'm thinking, like on this, you're yarning over and you're making these little holes. But if you just increased on one side, got to the middle, and then decreased, then you should get a square. So I don't know. To me, that was a breakthrough, because then I started thinking about, okay, so knit two together is a decrease, and knit front and back is an increase. And then there's also slip, slip, knit, which I've learned to do. And I thought, well, slip, slip, knit and knit two together has the same result. What's the difference? And so I Googled that, and there's tons of information on YouTube, and I know this is not huge, but it is a step for me in understanding knitting better. And I just thought it was, I don't know, wonderful. And then I just Googled knitted squares, and I found this pattern. It's knitasquare.com, knit-a-square. And it tells you all different ways to knit squares. And I love the idea of making like pot holders or dishcloths for the farmer's market or fall into art. By the way, at the conference, another thing was selling at farmers markets. And I would love to do that. We have a wonderful farmers market. I could sell copies of my art. I could sell crochet and knitting. Of course, the problem with all that is you have to have enough product made to actually sell. So it may be a while before I get to that point. But I just really got a lot of inspiration and learned a lot at that conference. One of the workshops was how to sell as an introvert, how to, like come out of yourself and market and talk to people. And I'm not sure I'm a complete introvert. I'm more of an introverted extrovert. I can be really chatty and outgoing, but I get my energy from being alone. And so anyway, I think that's it in a nutshell. I have really talked, but I'm just really excited. My word for the year was savor, or is savor, SAVOR. And my goal for this year is just to savor life, because I'm a grandma. I'm getting ready to be a grandma to the second little boy. I wanted to savor my art. I want to savor this period in my life. I want to savor every experience, and I just want to, just drink it up. And that is exactly what I've been doing this year. It's only May, but I am just soaking up creativity, art, life. It's all such a wonderful adventure. And I hope that you guys are doing the same thing. I hope you're enjoying this absolutely gorgeous spring. I'll try to do some videos outside later on. But thank you for being here. Please like, subscribe, share, all the things. And I look forward to talking with you next time. Until then, see ya.